Welcome back to Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets for Wednesday, November 24th on the Mayo Media Network. My name is Cecil Peters and I will be your host yet again for today's slate. First of all, might have an overdose tonight with 14 games, obscene amount of hockey on tonight, and I love that. What a call by the NHL, gearing up for American Thanksgiving. No games on Thursday, so they got a ton on today. So I got no time to fuck around today. You guys know the drill. Follow Mayo Media Network on YouTube. Watch this video on repeat all day long. Give it a rating, review it, leave a comment, subscribe to wherever you're listening to this on podcast if that's how you're doing it. Whatever you can do to help the show, do so. It keeps the show going. Really great for Mayo Media Network, great for me, great for everybody. Thanks for all the support so far this season, and let's get into the games with no time to waste. Remember, I am recording this the day before. I'm getting all my odds from DraftKings Sportsbook. A lot of them will probably change by the time you're listening to this. Not by a ton, but there are a few games that I am interested on betting on at the current number that I found them. When that changes, my decision to bet on that game might change. Plus 100 bets turning into minus 110. Not something I'm usually interested in doing. So some of these bets I have already placed just to get the number before I think it moves, but I will mention that as I go through the games. First game on the slate in Columbus. Winnipeg Jets minus 120 at the Blue Jackets. They are plus 100. I love this game. Not to bet on it, just in general. Two teams that I've bet on quite a bit lately with decent success. Two fantastic lines that I've been using a ton on DraftKings, the Boone Jenner line in Columbus and the Kyle Connor line in Winnipeg. No reason not to go back to those guys yet again. They're taking a ton of shots. They both spend a ton of time in the offensive zone. But I don't think I can quite get there with a bet on the Blue Jackets, which is usually where I go when they play. Plus 100 at home is something I usually like, but against the Winnipeg Jets, who have an equal three-line attack, probably a little more high-end talent, I just don't think I can get there. Pierre-Luc Dubois, Oliver Bjorkstrand will be my targets for shot props in this one, and that's about it for investment in this game. Next game is in Washington. The Washington Capitals minus 210 hosting the Montreal Canadiens at plus 170. Washington coming off of one of the more impressive road trips I can remember. Even with a disappointing loss to the lowly Seattle Kraken to finish it off, they had all the excuses in the world. 2 back-to-back sets on the road trip, bunch of injuries. They finally got a couple guys back off the injured list on their second line. In the next game, they were gone again. So ton of travel, ton of injuries, ton of work for the top line, and they still managed to get 2 wins, overtime loss, and a regulation loss through California and Seattle. Pretty impressive. They're just a team that keeps getting it done right now. They got Alexander Ovechkin scoring as per usual. Goaltending's playing really good. 2 shutouts for Ilya Samsonov last week. Minus 210 is of no interest for me betting just because it's too much and there's too many great options tonight. But I do think they keep rolling along back at home, so I have no interest in the Montreal side either. Next game on the slate. Vancouver plus 150, Pittsburgh minus 170. You guys know I hate betting on or against the Penguins. They screwed me yet again last time I tried it, beating Winnipeg in Winnipeg a couple of nights ago. I just can't get them right, ever. They have the potential to win every game, yet they also have the potential to lose 7-1 to any opponent at any time. Their expected goals has been really good over the past couple of weeks, and they've been getting some saves from Tristan Jarry and Ned, a couple shutouts, only 1 goal against in Winnipeg. So when you combine those 2 factors, makes sense that Pittsburgh's on a bit of a roll here. Minus 170, probably a decent number against the Canucks, but as I've mentioned earlier, they're a wild card for me. You never know what Pittsburgh Penguins team you're going to get, so I'm going to sit out this game. Probably won't have any shot props in it as well. Next game, Minnesota minus 125 in New Jersey. New Jersey's really slowed after a hot stretch of a couple weeks. Haven't been getting the wins lately. Minnesota's just a better team in every way but one. You could argue that the goaltending of New Jersey is a little bit better, especially with Mackenzie Blackwood back. Minus 125, I'm going to take my chances with the Minnesota Wild. I just think they're deeper, they're faster, they have better defense. And New Jersey just came out with those horrible third jerseys. Can't bet on a team like that. In fact, I want to bet against them. So Minnesota, I really like the newly formed Ryan Hartman, Matsuk Rella, Kapril Kaprizov line. That's going to be a potential target for me on DraftKings as well. I just don't think New Jersey can keep up with Minnesota's 4-line offense. Next game is Boston in Buffalo. Boston's minus 110, Buffalo home dog at plus 170, but I think their run as a scrappy underdog is probably drawing to a close. Bottom 5 in expected goals over the past couple weeks, not getting any saves from their bad goalies. which they did have a run for a while where Dustin Tokarski was playing really well, getting them some wins, but that's dried up. He's been yanked a couple times. Aaron Dell's not playing that great. Boston's going to run them out of the fucking building here tonight. Hey, minus 210 number, I'm not betting that on the money line. That's just not something I'm interested in doing. I might lean towards betting them to win in regulation, but make no mistake here, Boston will show you in this game why they are so heavily favored. David Pastrnak loves playing against the Sabres as he should. He scores a ton against them. I would be surprised if he doesn't score a goal in this game. Next game on the night here, we got the Philadelphia Flyers. They're plus 150 in Florida. Florida's minus 175. Florida's one of the best teams in the league. They're rolling along even without Alexander Barkov. The main takeaway for me has been Jonathan Huberdeau lately. He's been a cash cow with the shot props. He's talked openly about making more of an effort to shoot more. And more importantly, it showed on the ice. Over 2.5 shots in his past 4 games. He's been plus 140, plus 130 to hit that mark. I do expect that to come down probably to plus 120 as it slowly gets closer to even money. But as long as that is plus 120 or better, I will continue betting Jonathan Huberdeau over 2.5 shots. I do love Philly. I bet them at a similar number over Tampa Bay last night, but the back-to-back factor here is real, especially in the tough Florida swing. 2 excellent teams in Florida. It's tough to beat them both. Tough to get any wins out of this stretch. So if you can find the Huberdeau shot prop, that's about the only lean I have in this game. And this next game reeks the New York Islanders at home, minus 120 against the Rangers. The Islanders are just complete garbage right now. COVID issues, travel issues, other injury issues. You name it, they have an excuse. Kind of like Washington. Islanders have a bunch of built-in excuses. The only difference is Washington's winning the games. The Islanders keep losing. First 2 games in their new arena, they have struggled. They lost both of them. And now the Rangers come in. Rangers are playing really good right now. I hate to admit it. I hate betting on the Rangers, but they got a really good expected goals number the past couple weeks. They're getting the saves from Shesterkin as per usual. Capo Caco started to play really well. That gives them a second scoring line. Chris Kreider's been a man on a mission this year, playing the best hockey of his career. And then they had the superstars. Adam Fox on defense, Mika Zibanejad, Artemi Panarin. Those guys are still there. They're still superstars. If you can find the Rangers at plus money, it's a pretty easy bet to make. I do expect this line to move in favor of the Rangers, so I bet it already. But if you find them at plus money at any time, take it. Next game is in Detroit. St. Louis Blues minus 125, Red Wings plus 105. This is honestly one of the dumber lines I've seen, probably the dumbest one of the night. Kind of like the Rangers game before, I imagine it's not going to be this good when you're listening to this. This is the opening line. The Blues should be minus 170 here. I don't know why they're minus 125. They're a way better team than Detroit. They can roll 4 lines. They got scoring potential on each line. They got scoring potential on each defensive unit. They can just get it done in any single way. They can play fast, they can play big, they can play mean, they can play skilled. Good power play, good penalty kill. They have it all. They're one of the top teams in the league. Detroit, they've had a couple good stretches this year, but they're not really that good of a hockey team overall. St. Louis should be minus 170. If they're at minus 125 or anything even better than minus 140, absolutely bet on it. Bet of the night right there, St. Louis Blues. Next game is in Nashville. We got Vegas plus 100 at Nashville minus 120. I really like getting plus money on Vegas here for one big reason, and it's potential. And this isn't for sure by any means, but it is the potential that Max Pacioretty might get back in the lineup here. He is on the road trip. He's been taking line rushes in practice. By all accounts, he's pretty close to returning. I don't know if they rush him back quite yet, but if they do, absolutely Vegas should be minus 120 here, so I'm going to take the risk. I bet the Vegas Golden Knights at plus 100. Just kind of anticipating that if Pacioretty comes back, that's as good of a number as we're going to see. And even if Pacioretty isn't back, I still like the way Vegas is just finding ways to win games. Nashville's good, but they're not a great team, so plus money for Vegas here regardless is good. And if Pacioretty is back, first line, Max Pacioretty, Chandler Stevenson, Mark Stone will be one of my top targets in DraftKings. They're way too cheap as it is right now with Pacioretty coming back off injury. Mark Stone should have scored a couple goals last game against St. Louis. He's a little bit snake bitten, just missing the net, hitting the crossbar. He's due to score. Pacioretty's a volume shooter. He's going to get right back at it. Love this line. Love Vegas here tonight. Next game. In Colorado, we got the Colorado Avalanche, big home favorites, no surprise, minus 245. Against my Anaheim Ducks, plus 195. Been making a ton of money on the Ducks this year, despite them losing their past 2 games. 2 losses after a lengthy road trip or after a lengthy winning streak, and now we're back to almost plus 200 levels to bet on them. Absolutely. Colorado's destroying teams. No doubt about it. They completely deserve whatever line that they're given by the books. But they beat Vancouver, Ottawa, Seattle. Those are teams that you should beat. You should destroy them. Now they get the Anaheim Ducks. Colorado's been exposed defensively a bit at points in each of those games. Ottawa put up 5 on them. Seattle put up 3 in a period. Vancouver dominated play at 5-on-5 for a while in their game against Colorado. Anaheim can take advantage of that. They got a great first line, and now they got a second line that's buzzing with Rickard Rakell back from injury. So with their 2-line attack, good goaltending in Anaheim, I could see the line getting even higher here as people love betting on the Avs. Plus 200 or so on the Ducks. I can't wait to cash that ticket tonight. That one's going to be a good one. Ducks get back in the win column. Next game is in Seattle. We have the Carolina Hurricanes, one of the top teams in the league, coming to face the Kraken at home. Kraken, as per usual, overvalued. They should be plus 170, plus 180 here. But for whatever reason, the Bucks keep respecting Seattle. They did finally get out of the loss column the last game. They beat Washington. Washington was missing half of its forwards, back-to-back game, end of a long road trip. So kind of a spot game for the Capitals, and Seattle didn't end up taking advantage. Carolina also nearing the end of a long road trip here, so it's another decent spot for Seattle despite Carolina being a better opponent than Washington. I would normally love to bet the Hurricanes at this number here, but with the end of the road trip, I'm not sure what they're doing in net right now. I am going to go with simply staying away from this game. The only interest I have is a Jaden Schwartz shot prop. It's been at 1.5 all season long. He's been shooting 4 or 5 times a game. If they keep that line at 1.5, I'll absolutely be betting it, even down to minus 200. That one's just a lock every single night. Now we move on to Arizona. The Coyotes plus 180 with Edmonton coming to town. Edmonton minus 225. Second half of a back-to-back. Arizona is getting better every single game, but the Oilers should run them out of the rink here. This is a classic Edmonton spot game. Weak opponent, weak goaltending. Great chance for Edmonton to pile up some stats. McDavid and Draisaitl should be the top targets on DraftKings as well. The only negative here is that second half of a back-to-back factor, but that's kind of mitigated by Arizona being awful. They have won a couple games in overtime lately, but not in super impressive fashion. So with a minus 225 line on the Oilers, I will find better ways to make money on the night, but this should be a slam dunk win for them. Moving on to Los Angeles, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs minus 155 in LA. LA's come crashing back to earth a bit on their homestand with losses to Arizona, Washington, and Carolina. Now they get perhaps the toughest test of them all with the red-hot Maple Leafs coming into LA. LA did beat Toronto in Toronto handily a couple weeks back. That was kind of near the start of their hot streak. They've since cooled off. Toronto has since heated up a little bit. Toronto continues to be the best team in the league in terms of expected goals. They got Jack Campbell playing really well in net. I think they're worth a bet here even at minus 155. They're just a much better team than LA, and LA just can't seem to find the back of the net right now. So I'm betting on the Leafs at minus 155 here. Last game on the night, big underdog here. Ottawa plus 150 at San Jose minus 170. I'm all over Ottawa here. They're such a fun team to watch. They know how to score goals, but they also know how to give them up like crazy. San Jose, on the other hand, has been the opposite lately. Not creating a ton of offense and not giving a ton up. Really slow, pretty boring games to watch. Ottawa's going to come in and change that. Ottawa gives up as many chances as they get. They have a really strong first line, a decent power play. So this is a different kind of game than San Jose is used to. I don't trust San Jose's stars to find the back of the net like I trust Ottawa's. Guys like Josh Norris are finding ways to score. Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle. Zach Sanford had a hat trick for them last game. Ottawa's finding ways to score. San Jose's finding ways to not score. Therefore, Ottawa money line plus 150, easy bet to make. Ottawa's top line on DraftKings, another top target for me, easy call. Boom, that's it. 14 games. That's all the time we have for today. I did go over some of my DraftKings leans there. To summarize them, my favorite lines are Vegas's top line if Pacioretty plays, Ottawa's top line, as just mentioned, with Josh Norris, Brady Tkachuk, and Tim Stützle, Kirill Kaprizov line in Minnesota, and I do have some interest in Anaheim's second line of Trevor Zegras with Rickard Rakell as well. Tough matchup against Colorado, but Colorado has been giving up goals. They're not getting great goaltending, so I like that one, especially with Rakell back in the lineup. For For my finalized bets and DK plays, go to cecilpeters.com. My article is up there every day. If you need access to get to the article, just hit me up on Twitter at CecilPetes, and I will offer you the discounted Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bet show rate. Thanks again for watching. Massive slate, tons of money to be won. Once again, there's no games for Thursday, but Jake will be back to take you guys through the Friday slate later on in the week. Happy Thanksgiving to all the Americans out there. Good luck.